Time to dust off the cape and jump back into the fray. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 superheroes that need a reboot. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at superheroes that are in dire need of a cinematic revival or the Netflix treatment given the current state of their properties.
An invitation, cadeau.
Number 10, HeMan.
I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
The Prince of Eternia has become something of a cultural icon, though not for the reasons the creators were hoping for. After being chosen to wield the power sword and defend his kingdom from the likes of the equally entertaining Skeletor, HeMan was meant to be presented as a strong yet just warrior who had muscles for days. Considering that this was the 1980s era of cartoons, however, HeMan comes across as less of a badass and more of a, well, let's just say a lot of unfortunate innuendos got past the censors back in those days. The live-action adaptation starring Dolph Lundgren also did not help matters much. So, by the power of Grayskull, give this guy a reboot. Number 9, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Extraordinary.
Adaptations of Alan Moore's beloved graphic novels have been hit and miss over the years, but none have dropped the bar lower than the flick that caused Sean Connery to retire from acting.
Each past exploit, I've lost friends, white men and black, and much more.
Taking vast liberties with the narrative in an attempt to turn it into a Hollywood blockbuster, The League more than deserves another chance, though perhaps a trip to the smaller screen might fare a bit better this time around, considering these characters are far removed from the hero archetype and have to contend with their own inner demons. A Netflix series dedicated to exploring their individual darkness would make for both disturbing and thought-provoking content, as opposed to just, disturbing. Number 8, The Phantom. We live in a time when even the most obscure of superheroes are getting their chance in the limelight. But seriously, come on, purple? Billy Zane's time as the Ghost Who Walks was pretty ludicrous from beginning to end, mostly due to everyone taking it seriously in an attempt to invoke some kind of grittiness. Fighting pirates and warlords right alongside criminals, the Phantom was a hero not limited to patrolling the streets of a single city. If anything, a remake that is self-aware and provides a swashbuckling adventure would make for a rip-roaring time. Maybe cut back on the purple too, just a tad. Number 7, Jonah Hex. Talk about a spectacular flop. This film had so much going for it and yet still managed to shoot itself in the foot. Josh Brolin as a scarred gunslinger out for revenge, John Malkovich as his nemesis, even Michael Fassbender as a sadistic Irishman who likes to blow stuff up. With such a good cast and so much lore behind the character, what could go wrong? Well, the final product turned into an expensive disaster, leaving the meanest gun in the West without a worthy adaptation to his name. A cinematic reboot on a lower scale would still be a worthy option, though if there is a character that needs the CW to commission a series, it would be Mr. Hex. CW may not always hit home runs, but their adaptation couldn't possibly be worse.
All right, this is what y'all been waiting for.
Number 6, Flash Gordon. Now, we're not saying that there's anything wrong with this classic space opera. In fact, despite its immense 80s cheesiness, it still holds up really well today. Regardless, it might be time that the original comic was given justice in a new film or series that embraces its campier sci-fi elements while also not being afraid to explore its darker aspects, namely the wasteland that is planet Mongo, Ming the Merciless, and even Flash himself. But for the love of God, please bring back Brian Blessed. No one says Gordon's alive quite like him.
Go, Flash, go! Go, Flash, go!
Number 5, Blade. There was a time when Wesley Snipes' portrayal of the Daywalker was the darkest, most violent, and most awesome thing that Marvel had put on the big screen. The first 2 films in the series brought about genuine fright and exquisite fight scenes as Blade carved his way through an endless horde of vampires, even managing to kill both Hellboy and Daryl Dixon at one point.
Great.
Yeah, technically. Then came Blade Trinity, and it was awful.
Just strikes me that this business of vampirism has a very strong element of sexual confusion.
Then came the 2006 live-action series, which couldn't get past its first season. It's fair to say that Blade's return is long overdue, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe could definitely benefit should Creatures of the Night decide to make a comeback too.
Not. No. You are f***ing with.
Number 4, Swamp Thing. Surprisingly, this heroically grotesque being has had his fair share of screen time throughout the 80s and early 90s. The man behind Freddy Krueger himself, Wes Craven, brought him out of the swamp and onto the big screen, only to then lose him to a low-budget sequel that featured a love scene that may have mentally scarred pretty much anyone who watched it. Swamp Thing's resume is more than a little dismal, especially when compared to Marvel's other huge green giant. But it goes to show that even the defender of nature is still ripe for an adaptation. Number 3, Fantastic Four.
A new day is dawning. The day of the Fantastic Four.
4 appears to be the new unlucky number, as the first family of Marvel have had 4 cinematic appearances and none of them can really be called amazing, especially in regards to that horror show that was Fant4stick.
Clobbering time!
Should Marvel ever recover the rights, we have no doubt that they will be able to work their magic and fix the majority of the issues, and perhaps find a way to introduce us to these characters without tossing in the same old origin story. Until that glorious day comes though, all we can do is pray that Fox doesn't decide to toss out another fantastic failure in order to retain control. Please don't do it, Fox. Otherwise it really would be clobber in time.
This is where you've been hiding out.
Wait, stop. Okay, let me explain.
Number 2, Spawn.
Why is it that people with authority abuse their power?
Picture a being with the darkness of Batman and the killing tendency of Deadpool, and you'll just be scratching the surface of what Spawn is. After being brought back from eternal damnation, this former assassin works from the gutters and shadows, killing the forces of heaven, hell, and pretty much anyone else who tries to start a fight. His battles are of biblical proportions, his superpowers are too numerous to list, and his cinematic debut was not quite what fans were hoping for. Spawn is a force of nature who managed to defeat both God and Satan, and pretty much stop the apocalypse. So with that in mind, why would one crappy adaptation stop him now?
You're gonna pay for this. It's not over yet. I'll gum you to death. I'll bite the...
Before we get to our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
The bunker on the head. I think I need to go practice some more.
No! Let me show you how it's done, Kato! Breathe! Harder! Sit! A little! Kiss your ass goodbye!
Number 1, Green Lantern.
Ah, green!
The DC Cinematic Universe has allegedly pushed forward with bringing the Green Lantern Corps back to the big screen. But with the way the series has been going, we are more than a little skeptical. Ryan Reynolds' time as the Lantern was not received very well. Though we can hardly blame him, as he and the usually fantastic Mark Strong were clearly doing the best with what they've been given. The biggest shame is that the concept had such potential to be a hit. What with so many races, fellow Corps, and intergalactic villains to face off against, it practically comes gift-wrapped. At least give Jon Stewart or Kyle Rayner a chance to shine, cause you know, Hal kinda blew it.
Not this time!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.